Hey everyone, Tony Chips here from Chiappetta Shoes. This is Workshop Live where we talk all things foot problems. I got quite a doozy today. Check this out. I've got this lovely set of custom orthotics. These puppies need to be cleaned up, retuned. They're about 5 years old. We're going to be going through this project here, and you know, they got a lot going on. We've got some modifications on the top, modifications on the bottom, a whole lot of stuff. We're going to talk about reworking a custom orthotic. And the other thing that we're going to be talking about is leg length discrepancies. We have an epidemic of leg length discrepancies. It's ridiculous, going on nonstop. Knee replacements, hip replacements. I work with tons of doctors in town. They're doing great jobs, but nobody's addressing these problems. I'm sitting down and I'm assessing feet, and I'm catching it every single day. I got somebody coming in, they had a car accident, they had some kind of bad fall, broken femur, or you got a knee replacement or a hip replacement, and they need leg length discrepancy checks. So we're going to talk about that in a sec. For today, right now, we're going to be doing this. Now, we've got clean off the top. We're going to replace everything on the bottom here, all right? So right in the middle on both of them, we have kind of an arch bar going down the middle, hitting the longitudinal. We got a Met bar here, a lateral 4-foot wedge. That's 1/8-inch sponge rubber. On the right side, we have an extra arch contour and a lateral rear foot wedge too. Cuboid bar or a lateral heel bar, and a little wrapping on the side there to toughen it up. So we're going to strip it all down and redo it. Start there. I'm going to take you over to the grinder and we'll check this out. Well, that's Pete. Say hi, Pete. Yeah. All right. I haven't done this in a while. All right, grinder. There we go. Hey. How's that look, Ma? Good? All right. Perfect. So we're just going to take everything off here down to the base layer that we got. And clean it up real nice. There's a lot of layers to this puppy. This customer, awesome guy. All right. Right insert, all cleaned up on the bottom. We take it down to this Villadon material. It's a kind of a cotton-based product that we really like a lot for the base layer. Right. Perfect. All right. Take you back to the main cam here. So we're back in action. We've got the custom orthotics stripped down to the base layer there. So we've had a number of different things. This customer is an A1 foot type, super high, super rigid. You look at the mechanics of the forefoot, we have a large valgus alignment, so the big toe is naturally lower compared to the pinky toe. Rear foot has a big old cock to the outside, so when you have that, you have a lot of rigidity in the rear foot, a lot of rigidity in the forefoot. So we're going to get this tuned up. We're going to start with just redoing the bottom here. And when we talk about rear foot and forefoot, there's a really smart guy that came up with this awesome system called the quadristep foot typing system. And he did a really good job of kind of ironing out what the possible mechanics are. Kind of took a look at everything. I believe he did 10,000 hours of video. And he came up with a system. Super sweet to use. Now, when we talk about leg length discrepancies, one of the main telltale signs is a variation in the forefoot alignment. And when you have a forefoot that, looking at the ball of the foot, there's the toes. When you have a forefoot that has the big toe that's downward, so the pinky toes are kind of higher compared to the big toe, that's called the forefoot valgus. That typically creates a lot of stiffness within this joint range here, and everything's tightly locked, right? Forefoot varus is where the pinky toe is a lot lower. Now when there's that alignment, there's a lot more flexibility in these joints here. And your typical real flat feet have a large forefoot varus. Your typical real high arch, rigid feet have a large forefoot valgus. Now, telltale sign when it comes to leg length discrepancies is you have a difference. One side has a valgus alignment, the other side has a varus alignment. As a part of our normal everyday conversations with customers, we'll sit down and talk, what do you got going on? Have you had any surgeries lately? Oh yeah, I had a knee done, hip done. My back's kind of hurting, my shoulders kind of feel out of whack. I got this pain on one side of my foot. So the body will compensate. Why I call this an epidemic, and again, this is not an indictment on any foot doctors in town or around the country, but nobody, absolutely nobody, talks about getting measured for leg length discrepancies after surgery. Typically we'll recommend 6 to 8 weeks after the fact. You want to let the body heal and everything like that, but they get you moving in PT right away. So, old school way of measuring. Take a tape measure. You go from the outside of the hip to the inside of the ankle. I don't like it that way. It's inaccurate. There can be plenty of variance. One day you might be tight, one day you might be loose. So the problem with the old school tape measure method is that, even an eighth of an inch or 1/16 of an inch can make a huge difference in the results that we come up with. And looking at the setup that we want to talk about when it comes to leg length discrepancies, the best way to do a leg length discrepancy check is where you take a standing x-ray and the doctor will position you so you're kind of hips and waist down, and when you do it that way, they can identify not only the bony difference, if the femur is longer, the tibia is longer, but they can check out postural alignment issues too. So when we talk about leg length discrepancies, there's really two differences. There are two types. You have your functional leg length discrepancies and structural. Functional will be your postural issues that you can potentially have. Structural is, you get in a car accident, you break your femur, and it heals up half an inch shorter or something like that. We see that quite often. We see a lot of structural stuff. It's usually a combination of the two. And that's why having a standing x-ray is, in my opinion, the best method to assess a leg length discrepancy. So, you ask yourself, Tony, why do I bring this up? Why am I talking about leg discrepancies and I'm just not even taking a breath? I see it every single day. When we sit down and help orthotic patients, we get a lot of doctor referrals. Thank you guys very much. It's awesome. We take pride in what we do. And we say ain't no better than Chiappetta for a reason. I would argue we make the best custom orthotics in the country. But we sit down with these customers, and when we're helping people out, you know, we don't give you 5 minutes of time and kick you the hell out and say, hey, you can go talk to my assistant and take an impression. That's crap. I want to sit down, assess, and figure out what is going on with your body, with your life, talking to people. Typically, in a new patient assessment, is somewhere around half an hour to 45 minutes. And as a part of that, you know, we're kind of talking about, okay, what's life going on? How you feeling? A lot of times when you ask if you've had a major injury, people will either forget or just not tell you. And you end up talking a little bit more, and they get comfortable with you, and they say, oh yeah, you know, I got in that car accident when I was 20 years old, and yada, yada, yada. But just sitting down and, you know, being real with people is super important. With healthcare nowadays, everything is so compartmentalized and, you know, specialized. I think it's a bunch of crap. But you get these people that, you know, spend 5 minutes of time with you. They won't figure out, they won't diagnose, they won't think about things a bit. And yeah, so all right, then we got back to the inserts. We got the new material on the bottom. We're gonna take this over, clean it up, and then start adding to the bottom. Okay, 2 seconds. All right, so we got the new bottoms. We're gonna get a little fancy with this. You know, doing modifications, a little bit of art, a little bit of science, right? Excuse me real quick, I'm gonna grab some cork. And yeah, that looks pretty good. I'm gonna use multi-cork, great material from Acor, 55 durometer. And we're gonna get a little cute with this. I've been working with this customer for quite a long time. And we're going to do a combo scaphoid arch bar met pad. And like I said, I've done this my whole life, so you look at the shape of this. And when I'm training new people in this, it's essentially, you look down and you want to create something. You come up with it in your head first. Almost, I'm thinking. All right, so we got this arch bar here. We'll come around like that. Get a little bit more coverage on the medial side here. And like that. Okay. So, I'm going to make one and then copy it on the other. And, okay, so back to the customer here. We got an A1 foot type, high rigid high and as rigid as it gets. And he has beaten the hell out of his metatarsal pads. All right, now this is the left foot. Combo pad, arch bar covers the middle, metatarsal pad, scaphoid pad. All right, that looks pretty dang good. All right, perfect. So copy that out. Now, one thing I'm going to skip on this one is the lateral heel wedge. I kind of want to have this customer reset. We did just make him a new set of custom orthotics, and that was about 3 weeks ago or so. We have a little bit different setup for him on those, different core materials, and we're going to reassess. We'll have an old set, a new set, and see what works best. Now, when you pre-cut some of this thicker material, it's kind of good to take it to the grinder and re-level all the edges. Come on over. So we got this fancy schmancy met pad, arch bar, scaphoid pad. All right, so from here, we get things ironed out. And there we go. Okay. Now I like to be as matched up as possible, so I always measure out exactly where we have these materials, unless there's a foot difference in size. We will keep things as evenly as possible. Got it. Okay. So, with this glue on, talk a little bit more about leg length discrepancies. As always, great 5-star contact cement from the good people of Ruby Leather. Good cost, not too noxious.
Hi. Hi. How are you going to help that guy who came in this morning with the tiny feet?
Live. I'm doing a live video. Oh, I'll tell you about him later. That was Laura. That's okay. No. I'll tell you later. All right. So we got the glue getting applied. Contact cement typically take a couple minutes to dry. Want to get a nice bond there, Scotty boy.
Noise.
What's that?
There's noise.
Yes.
So you're adding glue.
What's that?
Nothing.
Fancy pads. Fancy pads. So it's like a metatarsal bar, arch bar.
Everything medial post.
Everything
Yeah.
all in
Or
one.
medial
No
post.
post, but yeah,
What?
arch bar.
Yep.
Arch bar, met bar, and a scaphoid pad.
Are you
All right.
still live right?
Yeah,
Oh,
I'll let her know. All right. So, got that glued down. Back to leg length discrepancies. Hey, Haley. I'm very interested. I'm going to use this little video chopping machine that it's AI, and you upload a video and then it chops up in little pieces. So I'm testing you, robots. Yeah.
See if it cuts it where it needs to.
Yeah, we'll see. Anyways, leg length discrepancies. Back to that. My opinion is that foot doctors, 6 to 8 weeks after the fact, should be recommending all of their patients, every single one, to go get their leg lengths checked. And I'm recommending using an X-ray technique to make that happen. Now, most doctors, osteopathic surgeons, are not going to do that because it implies that they didn't do a good job when it comes to the surgery. Everybody's body's different. Nobody's under attack here. It's a common thing that happens. I literally get people every single day that they went and they got a hip replacement, maybe multiple different replacements, and never heard anything. Physical therapists never said anything. I sit down within like 2 minutes. I can identify. Oh, yep, you're off. So it's not that hard. You just look at the body, you listen to the customer. If you got unilateral pain in the hip or the knee or the foot, you gotta sit down and diagnose that. And it typically is borne out in forefoot alignment. Now sometimes it's 100% in the hips and it's a little bit harder to see unless it's more than a half an inch, because then you get that hip pop. But leg length discrepancies can play out lots of different weird ways. And when we're talking about people's posture, the biggest thing when it comes to posture is that when we get into the leg length discrepancy solutions, the most important aspect of the solution process is that you have to consider consistency is the most important part. When you get into wearing a lift, whether it's a heel lift or an external lift that we build onto the shoe. Pete, throw me one of those puppies. When we get into a lift, we're talking about adding, cutting the sole, adding material, building it up. Consistency is important because if you're going out with your girlfriends and you're going to wear a shoe with a lift and you're out shopping for a couple hours, and then you get home and you're just going barefoot or in your sandals or slippers without anything, you're throwing your body off like crazy. So sometimes people even can do worse of a time when they have a lift in a shoe, but they're being inconsistent about it. So consistency is hugely important for your body to reposition itself, because even if you're off and you compensate, a lot of people can get by with that. But if you're having these issues, your medical professionals are not figuring this out. You gotta get it figured out. And a lot of times it's a fairly easy situation. I'm gonna take you guys over to the side here, and we're gonna get this set up. I'm gonna get this heated up a bit. Give me 2 more seconds, be right back. All right, we're back. I got this cork fresh out of the oven, and it's really hot. So we're gonna get that applied there nicely. And I've got this customer's molds, which is always the best case when we're refurbing. You know, so now cork is heat moldable. It's a closed cell foam and cork combination. Love this stuff. Use it in a lot of my orthotics. And when it's heat moldable, it gets nice and hot and gummy. We can compress it down to a good number 2. To the front. There we go. And we got these sweet vacuum formers, right? And this is where the magic happens, baby. All right. So, gotta make sure you position it properly, especially for an old orthotic, so it can kind of compress and break down in the heel. Perfect. Now I'm gonna let this sit for a little bit. Probably about a minute or so. And we're gonna go back over here. All right, so we have a very thin 45 durometer EVA. It's a microcell puff, sorry. Great material, works many different ways. We're gonna wrap the side of this a little bit on the custom orthotic. Now, we've got a 4-foot situation here. The big toe is naturally depressed compared to the pinky toe. Now, when we do a 4-foot lateral wedge, we're filling up that space. That's an accommodative measure. If I was doing a corrective measure, I would do it on the big toe and push up like that. Because the big toe is naturally lower. If we're pushing that up, that's corrective. If we're filling up empty space, that's accommodative. Now this is without weight. And again, we have a rigidity with these midfoot bones here, particularly the second, third, fourth, and fifth metatarsals. And we just pound the hell out of the feet with the bony areas, particularly the heel, the fifth metatarsal, the first, and the big toe. So boom, boom, boom. Now, with the 4-foot lateral wedge, we are going to do a sponge rubber material. This is an unorthodox material to use for a 4-foot wedge. It's a little bit thicker, but considering this customer, he's had a history of liking this material, and we want, whenever you do anything in the 4-foot, you want to give it a good spongy, bouncy feeling, because there's a lot of pressure going off there when you're taking a step. So we're going to go back over to the vacuum formers. Got custom orthotic, real nice shape, great compression. It's going to hold and bond really well. Take it over to the grinder, taper this up, get a 4-foot wedge back on there, wrap the sides, and then we're set for today, ladies and gentlemen. Grinder. All right, so we got reset up here. Now we need the 4-foot wedge. And a lot of this, whenever you're doing modifications, it's kind of a very organic process where you look at a foot, you come up with the lines, and you just start creating. And that's the beauty of pit orthics, is I can never, ever, ever say I've seen the same thing, and I've seen it all. There's tons of stuff that walks in every single day, and crazy stuff happens with the foot. So that's the fun part of our job, is that, you know, everybody's body's different. Everybody goes through life differently, and you know, it's not a cookie cutter process with anything in pit orthics. That's really the fun part. All right, so now I'm not taking up space in the toes. I'm going to taper that down. You got to be really careful with any toe area. If you're pinching the toes too much, it's going to affect fit, and that ain't going to be good. So we're going to take this piece that we just created. Sometimes I come up with a box of templates that I got all kinds of stuff cut out. I just came up with a new template called the Cobra. It's pretty sweet. I love this one. It's kind of like a Met pad, cuboid bar, arch bar kind of thing. Anyways, so the cool thing about pit orthics is that you can never say you've seen everything, and I mean, you get to do fun shit in the lab all day long. So pit orthics is finally back in business. They just reopened the certification process, and they didn't have any schools, I believe, from about June of 2020 to just a week ago, or a week and a half ago. So in my shop, we have about 4 people that are going to be signing up in the next couple of weeks to get certified and go down the apprenticeship road. I'm going to get all Gordon Ramsay on that shit, and it ain't going to be pretty. And hopefully we're going to do a lot of video on that. So that should be fun to watch. But it's a great business opportunity for any shoe stores. It is a great career opportunity for salespeople that like the shoe business, that want to stay and help their patients, or customers, in more and fun and better ways. And you know, this kind of stuff is, nothing is cookie cutter. Everybody's different. So, all right, now if you look, I've got my new side wraps glued up. We're going to get that done in a sec. I'm going to glue the 4-foot here, and then I'm going to glue the sides. We're going to do it all at once, because this big thing about modifications and reworks is, I mean, you want to do as good of work as possible. You want to cut down the amount of multiple steps. Right, Pete? Mm-hmm. Pete says yes. All right, so we're gluing the sides. Now, I'm not going to go, we already have the cork right there, so. All right. When it's done, I'm doing a sloppy job on this glue. All right. Luckily, contact cement is very easy to take care of and clean. So, we're going to let this sit for a few minutes. Be right back. All right, back at it. Here we go. So, I'm gonna heat this stuff up, get it going nice and nice. Now these inserts are about 5 years old, right around there. Maybe 5 years old in a couple months or something like that. Been around for a while. Most places that make custom orthotics don't guarantee their inserts for longer than 6 months. I don't know anybody that does it longer than that. Hanger, definitely not. We guarantee our custom orthotics for 3 years. 3 whole years, Fredo. We guarantee our orthotics. Yeah, 3 years. It's a long time. Even on something like this, I'm not charging the guy. He just got a new orthotic. It's a little extra work, a little bit of my time. Come on. All right. Heat this material up, got it nice and soft. There we go. Sponge rubber. We're gonna clean off the top. That's gonna be the last step, and then we'll be done. And then you can get rid of it. All right. We got the 4-foot wedge. Now we're gonna do the side wrap here. When I do this, heat this material up real nice. This is a thin, about 1.5 millimeters EVA. You want to get it nice and hot, nice and warm, make it more malleable to the side of the insert there, back, a little bit on the inside. Voila. Now I'm not gonna compression mold this stuff. This is all good. Once it's heated up, it kind of is thin enough to press down and hold very well. So 4-foot wrap, same thing other side. And you know, just like in any profession, you don't want to waste material. I got 2 sides glued up, but I only need this one piece, so perfecto. That chopped up. Take you over to the grinder. Finish this project up. All right. Last step here today, clean up the top. This piece here is not getting replaced. That is a SR pour-on scaphoid pad wrapped with a 2 millimeter 55 EVA top cover right there. And she's in pretty good shape. I don't want to mess with the top either, so this is going to make him feel pretty dang good. Typically, we keep everything matched up left and right, but his right side was getting weaker over the years. That's why we have that one extra buildup on the scaphoid pad on the right side there. So, acetone, great on EVAs, cleans everything up. And very last step, EVA is a closed cell foam. You can heat it up and it reinflates very nicely. So this customer is going to be feeling pretty dang good. We got a new set of orthotics that he's working in right now. We got this old set that he can use as a backup or any kind of stuff like that, and we're in pretty good shape. So that's going to be a wrap. Thank you very much for tuning into this workshop live. We've got lots more coming. This is the first one I've done in a lot of years, and I'm very excited to keep doing more of these. Good orthotics, great profession, a lot of people, a lot of good opportunities. Make sure you check it out. Ciao.